It's me, Johnny. Um, Today I want to make a video about the markets, what's going on. A lot of crazy stuff's going on. Probably you already heard of by now. Half the world or three-quarters of the world's on fire. There's revolutions going on. Currencies are crashing. I can't adjust my screen. Anyways, there's a lot going on in the markets. Like a couple years ago, it was Lebanon's currency crashing. Now it's Sri Lanka. But there's countries in Africa to Argentina, Chile, Colombia. The currencies in Chile and Colombia aren't exactly crashing, but they're really they've fallen a lot against the dollar. Anyways, I want to go over this real quick. The S&P was down a third of a percent. The Dow was down 0.5%. The Nasdaq barely rose. The Russell was down 1%. Interesting. Oil was down 0.25%. Gold was down 1.5%. $27 an ounce. Silver was down 4.5%. That's kind of interesting. That's signaling we're going into recession. Copper and silver have really been selling off. I sold some silver eagles for like a $3 premium when silver was $22 an ounce. So I got 25. I just sold an ounce of gold for 2,200. Even though gold is 1707, I got quite a premium for it. So I was very happy about that. Now the silver I sold a couple months ago, but the gold I just sold this week. So when people ask me sometimes how I make money, that is one way I make money. I buy gold and sell it for an extreme premium or a high premium. I was really happy with what I got. Anyways, what I want to direct the viewers to is some of the currencies, like the euro's at par right now. It got below par today. It got down to like 99 cents. The 10 years at 2.9. It's been trading at 3, 3.2, 2.7. But anyways, here's the pound. The pound's at 118. A couple days ago it was at 119. The last I remember the pound traded at 119 was during COVID, and that was pretty scary. I mean, the market's selling off, not COVID. But like we're down like to 2020 prices during COVID when everyone was panicking. I also want to direct the viewers to the dollar yen. It was at 139 earlier today. Now it's at 138.9. But man, that sucker is selling off. And later on in the video, if I remember, I'll go over the Korean won because I want to say a few words about that. Anyways, what's weird is, or interesting at least to me, Bitcoin did the reverse. It was up 4.8%, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, that's just going on there with that. I just wanted to point out kind of what in general the markets are doing. So I want to pull up a chart of the USD, Korean won. That's kind of like copper. In other words, when the Korean won, let's just zoom that out. Oh, they're not going to do it. Can I get a bigger chart? Let's see if this will do it. No, they're not giving me a chart. I don't even know what this symbol is for Korean. KRW. Let's see if that's it. Yep, Korean won. This is a 4-hour chart. I don't know if you can really see it with the sun in my eyes. I'm sitting out here. It's at 1,326. Let's look at the daily. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Now, as you can see, during 2020, I can't see because the screen's up there with my face on it. Anyways, it was down around 1,150, 150. But you can see it's just been selling off. And we're at 1,300 now. 1326. It looks like a little bit lower now. 1312. Anyways, my point is, when the yen and the won sell off, it pretty much, well, not guaranteed, but I think we're in a recession. If we're not in one already, these markets are suggesting we're in a recession. What real quick, I'm going to bring up USD Mexican peso. This is the dollar chart. This is during COVID. I don't know if the viewers remember, we got up to 24. Did we get up to 25? Intraday we got up to 25.4 or 25 and a half, it looks like. I remember when this happened. This is really scary. I can't remember. I might have been on the wrong side of that. I can't remember anymore. Anyways, looking at the chart, we're at, where are we at? I got a bunch of damn lines on the chart. We're at 20.8 right now. I think we're going to 21. Let's see, or 22. And if it gets real ugly, we're going to go to 22 and a half. Then the old highs, maybe 25, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see how bad it gets. I just want to bring up to the viewers, the reason I'm bringing up these currency charts is to show you the dollar is really, really wrecking currencies all over the world. See, I'm not going to get the Philippine peso. Anyways, I'll just go here. For those of you who like Southeast Asia, the peso is at 56 and a quarter today. Let's look at the 5-year chart. Yeah, 56 and 3/4. It looks like we're at the all-time high. Now, is this the max? No, we're not at the all-time high. I don't think. 55.8. No. Yeah, I think we're... I don't like these charts. I can't really tell, but it looks like we're at an all-time high for the Philippine peso against the dollar. I think we're going to 60. I don't know, 70, 80. I'm not really sure. But if you're a US dollar holder, you're going to get some good deals. Real quick, I want to look up Thai baht. We're at 36 on the Thai baht, 36 and a half. It wasn't that long ago. Let's look at the year. It wasn't that long. We're at 32. Look at that. Went from like a 33 right down here all the way up to like 36. We could get to 40, 45 on the Thai baht in the next 12 months. Look at the Chilean peso. 1,000. I mean, how many years ago was it at 500? Let's look. No chart. 5 years ago. Going back 5 years. Yeah, let's go back to 2019, 2017. We're at 600. I thought we were at 500 at one point, but we're at 600, 700 back in the day. Now we're at 1,000. Chile is getting cheap. Now I'm looking at the Colombian peso rate. That is very interesting. We're almost at 5,000. Yeah. Back in 2019, we're at 2,800. Now we're at almost 5,000, 4,492. Anyways, enough of that. I just want to make some points that base metals, copper, nickel, but especially copper and iron ore have really come down. I will take a real quick. Shoot, I can't see it. We'll take a quick look at Vale. That's the big iron ore company, base metal miner in. Oh man, I gotta readjust the seat. That's not any good. Anyways, this is Vale. It's a big Brazilian miner. I don't know where we closed. Looks like 1250. But they're a big base metal company in the United States, and there's Rio Tinto. Their shares have been crashing. They got up to 23 and change, and now they're at 1250. But anyways, I think we're going to a really potentially a bad recession. I think if you're a US dollar holder, you're going to find traveling much, much cheaper as we go forward, even with this raging inflation in the United States and all over the world. It doesn't appear to me that the Fed's going to lower rates anytime soon or even stop raising rates. People now are thinking that the Fed's going to raise 1% at the next meeting. I don't know. But the markets didn't sell off hard enough for me to think that the markets care about a 1% increase. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Um, I just think for the viewers who like to live in other countries, you're going to get a lot of good bargains going forward, even with this high inflation. But the cost of all that is there's going to be protesting all over the world. But here's basically what I think is going to happen over the next 5 or 6 years. The dollar's going to keep strengthening, and then when it gets to be too much, we're going to have a Plaza Accord 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever they're going to call it, and the dollar's just probably going to crash and burn. Not right now though, but as long as the dollar's a reserve currency and all these countries use it, it's going to keep strengthening. At some point, a lot of countries are going to want to get off the dollar train and the dollar reserve currency and start trading in other currencies, like other viewers have pointed out in the comments. Thanks for the comments. Once other countries start deciding they want to trade in other currencies, whether it's right now Brazil, Russia, China are talking about, and even India are talking about having some other kind of reserve currency. And anyhow, we'll see how that turns out. I don't think that's going to happen fast, but it could happen slowly over time. And over this time, there's going to be a lot of suffering with all this dollar strength. And then eventually, a lot of countries are going to suffer so much, they're going to, I don't know what currency it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be like the Chinese yuan or the Chinese, whatever they call the yuan, or if it's going to be some combination of like other currencies, or if it's going to be something like what Russia wants to do with, they're like kind of tying their currency to the oil and gold. You can't redeem it in oil or gold, but they're trying to peg it to those currencies. Again, I don't know what's the ultimate solution is going to be to all this, but I do think that as more and more countries suffer from the dollar strength, they're going to try to find a way to get off the dollar. That's going to put a lot of pressure on the Fed to lower rates, because the U.S. government does not want to lose the reserve currency status they have. So Congress, businesses, multinational everyone, they're going to be lobbying the Fed to like kill the dollar. And I don't think they're going to do it right now. I think they'll do it in the next few years. But I'm in the camp it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over a couple of years time period, maybe less. You never know. But if you're someone who doesn't live in a U.S. could earn dollars or hold dollars, for you the price of gold's been going up. For Americans, gold price in dollars, U.S. dollars, has been going down. I don't expect that to last very much longer. Even though the dollar's really strong right now, I expect the gold and possibly silver and possibly Bitcoin to eventually reverse. Other people have different opinions than me. That's fine. I just think more and more of the world would be buying gold, dollars, and possibly U.S. assets that are considered the blue chips. But again, I think that's going to happen over the next 2 years. Anyhow, I think we live in interesting times. It's going to be interesting to see if Latin America holds together. From what I gather from the people I know in Latin America, from Central to South America and Mexico, their economies appear to be stronger than the U.S. right now. I'm not really sure. It's hard to go by the numbers and all that. Anyways, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to be heading to Mexico very shortly in about a week, so I'll be happy to see the peso at 20 or 21 if I get lucky and get 20 or 21 pesos per dollar. I'll be happy about that. And for anyone who wants to go to Argentina, one of the cheapest ways to get the real rate is to use Western Union, have money wired to Western Union, or you can just go on the black market and do it that way. But then you're going to have to bring in large amounts of dollars, which some people may not feel safe doing. But from what I've been hearing, Argentina is super, super cheap compared to Mexico. As a few viewers have already informed me in the past, Colombia is just much cheaper than Mexico right now, or Guatemala for that matter. So Oh, Brazil. I'm not sure. I get mixed reports on that, but I think if you live in a second or third tier city, or if you live in a smaller community, the cost of living really isn't that much. But my personal opinion is if you're earning dollars and you're not living in either the capital or Rio, your cost of living can be not really much higher than anywhere else in Latin America. But it just depends what you prefer. But from what I've been gathering from my kind of network, South America is definitely on the cheap compared to Mexico and Central America. Panama, Mexico is costs are kind of rising. Now I'm not saying you can't live cheap in Guatemala, Mexico, or even Panama, but it's getting harder and harder to do that. We'll have to see. I think the Guatemalan quetzal is 8 to the dollar now, or 7 3/4. I think it's 7 3/4. So I don't know if it's going to devalue against the dollar, but if it ever does, then Guatemala will be super cheap. The trouble with Guatemala is they're not as developed as Mexico. There's not hardly any beach resort. Well, there's beach resorts, but nothing like Mexico. The way things are developed in Mexico is it's like night and day compared to Guatemala. So when you compare apples to apples, you'll see kind of the prices can seem kind of high in Guatemala for a beach resort, or you compare it to Mexico, or anyways, you kind of get the drift on that. But the nice thing about Mexico, there's just all kinds of everywhere. Like you can live in Merida, or you can live in Hualtuco, you can live in Mazatlan. That's fairly cheap. Um, Acapulco is fairly cheap. Anywhere like in Merida, it's not super expensive, but there's so many gringos heading there. It's kind of rising. Just a heads up to my fans who like Jose Ortega. I don't exactly know how you say his name. Jose just made another video. When he first came to Mexico, he was living on 475. Let's just call it 500. He was expecting to get some hate mail. I don't know if he ever did. I don't think he got too many negative comments, but when he first came to Mexico, he was living in Merida for like 500, actually even less. And he showed his apartment is 175 bucks. It's actually pretty big for 175 bucks. And he had like upstairs, downstairs, and all that. And his bills were super cheap. And I was just like, that's been my experience. Like Mexico's the kind of place you could spend 1,000, 2,000 really easy, or if you're on a budget, just 6, 7, 800, you could easily kind of fit it in. But the trouble there is like now the $200 apartments, let's call them 250, are getting harder and harder to find, especially with all the gringos kind of coming in. I was talking to a real estate lady about a week ago in kind of a beach resort. She said getting apartments for 200 is getting harder and harder. Not impossible, just more difficult. So like I said before in the previous videos, as more and more gringos come out of the States and Canadians, they go to Mexico first usually, and oftentimes stay there. But if they don't, then they keep going south. But that's just going to keep pushing up prices in Mexico. But the upside is I expect the U.S. dollar peso rate to keep going up, at least for dollar holders. I'd be interested to see if that actually doesn't happen. I actually think the Mexican economy is pretty strong, so there's a lot of benefits to going there. The only thing is getting the traditional type visas is getting more expensive. Like now, I think you got to prove like $2,700 income. That's not. I'm not saying the last word on that. There's various ways you can get around that legally. Nothing weird or anything, but there's a few other ways. But you can get married. You can just get a work visa. That's the easiest way to get a visa. Now, the thing that sucks about that is if you get a work visa and work part-time, you still got to work part-time if you don't really need to work. That might be a hassle for you, but it's a way to get in and fit in and have a visa. And the thing is, once you do that, if you're single, get married, you can just put that into a regular visa. And then the income requirements aren't as extreme, or 2,700. That's what I heard. Also, too, more good news. I think I watch quite a few YouTubers in Mexico, and my understanding is they're handing out the 180-day, or it's 180. I think half a year, the 6-month tourist card. They're handing that out again. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but from some of the YouTubers I saw, that's what they're getting. I'll be interested to see what I get. I'm going to fly into TJ and see what's up in TJ. I haven't been there probably in 30 years. Anyhow, I'll be checking out TJ in about a week or so. Then I'll see what happens. I don't know. I might go to Mexico for 3 to 6 months, or I might not. Anyways, that's it for now. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment, please. Thank you.